I know this is a weekend. I know it's a weekend, so and it's India-Australia match also. But you have taken the schedule from your, busy things, and you have part of this session. You are part of one of my gladiators, and we have some gladiators who are part of this session also. So it would be a great, useful session if you can able to share your insights about your introduction and your preparation about your CISSP, CCSP. Over to you. Let me make you presenter.
Yeah. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, from the which location they join. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Rajan here, working as a solution consultant. Primarily, my core domain is compute, data center. I can say data center, virtualization, and the public cloud. And I have over 20 plus years of experience, where I started my career from the Linux administration, typical system admin support, and through virtualization, then at public cloud adoption, typically 2013, I started my career into AWS, and I upskilled myself for Azure and Google, and I extensively worked on AWS in terms of customer onboarding and other operational tasks and migration part. Now coming to the point, what was my core intention to start with the CSSP journey? Okay, security journey in short. Okay, so when I was working in my earlier organization, then I have seen there are. It was a product company, and there was a specific team. They were managing the security aspect, because if you can see in the product, there is a separate security team. They will pass your threat modeling. Okay, they will ensure that whatever you are designing the solution, it will pass my security threat control and everything. So I have seen the designations. At that time, I was not aware anything about uh, CSSP, CCSP, what is that? But I have seen those people having two certifications. One is CSSP and second is a CCSP. Okay, that was my starting trigger, I can say. Now from my side, I did my AWS security specialty, as some of you might aware. AWS has launched the security specialty two times. In 2016 reInvent, due to some reason they rolled back, and 2017 reInvent again they started the beta drive, and I was in one of the drive which I have cleared in 2018. So the beta was completed by 28 February 2018. And no, and typically in a beta, the result will be declared after 2 or 3 months. So that was my initial, I can say, journey of the security on towards the public cloud. It was specific to AWS. It was nothing so Azure, Google, generic, nothing. Okay, so that was my starting journey. So it was my experience that yeah, security is a really good domain to explore. Now, when I saw my counterparts who are working in the product security organization, they are having two six certifications. One is the CSSP, CCSP. So definitely it is our no. We will immediately try to compare in Google, right? The CSSP good or CCSP is good, okay? But I have seen that there are the different kind of thought process whether I should go for CSSP, CSP. Then I came across one of the organization and I spoke to them, and then they mentioned, they given me the very good clear guidelines, okay, that CSSP is a core enterprise security gold standard certification. It is not only certification, it is a basically journey, okay. It is not like a 2 month, 3 month preparation and you can clear. It is a basically covers holistic view of the enterprise security, which one person should know when they are managing the infrastructure, not only on-prem, not only public cloud, but across the everything. Okay, so that how he has given me the importance of the CSSP, and I started preparing for it. So I started one institute. I joined the one institute. I prepared, and I attempted first in July 2019, and I could not clear. Okay, so it was my, I got below proficiency in the 3 domain, and 3, 4, domain 2, domain 3, domain 4. That was my story. But during the
So Rajan, I would like to interrupt here. Like, when you failed first time in CISSP, what was your experience? Does it, like, I'm sure there are several people who cleared the exam in a second attempt. Some people are there who clear the exam in a third attempt. So what was your reaction? I believe this is a question of everyone also, I believe, because some people already, attempt this exam and it was a major setback for them. So, what was your experience and how you basically, uh, bang on and again you basically went for this exam?
Yeah, so definitely. So see, when I started CSSP, I forgot to add the story. When I started CSSP, I knew that the passing ratio on the success rate, success ratio is hardly 20 percentage in the industry. Okay, 20 to 25 percentage. I have seen the story of too many people. Some of them are not able to clear into third attempt also. That is a worst case scenario. And people who are clearing up, they are also 20 to 25 percentage. They are able to clear in first attempt. One more observation I would like to highlight over here is CISSP today also I am closely following up the trend, okay, since the last 2 to 3 years. The people who are clearing CISSP, Prop can correct me also, 60 to 70 percentage people who are clearing CISSP, they are typically from the security GRC domain. Okay, that is my observation. So either they are from uh, CISA, CISM, they are coming from that domain. In fact, when I attended the training, I also, in our batch also, 60 to 70 percentage people were already working in that domain and they would like to explore CSSP as a one of the career path. That is a one part. So before
So you
appearing,
want to
I
say here,
was
like, this GRC experience will really helpful. It will be a
definitely
great benefit for them if you are preparing
correct,
for, SSP.
correct, correct. So yeah, I agree. So I have seen the trend. Those people were primarily focusing on CSSP. In my case, I was not from that domain. I was a totally typically from the IT infrastructure domain. So where appearing for the exam, I knew there are 50-50 chances. So it was not for that much surprise. Okay, but only surprise was, in fact, I interacted prop before that I prepared 5,000 plus questions from the different source, which is a everyone is putting when they appearing. The see my practice of observation is when someone is clear the exam, they will put what are the recommended books, what are the recommended practice questions. So definitely I collated and I also referred the same. So I also found, I also collected the same. I prepared 3 different books, which I will cover. And I also say that no, 3 to 4 books, no, okay, and 5,000 plus questions. But I was sure that I'm not good in domain 3, domain 4 due to some reason. Domain 4 is specifically on the networking and I'm not part from the networking domain. That is number one. Domain 3, although it was interested, okay, and but the domain 3 is a very vast. Today also I can compare domain 3 is a very vast. They try to cover so many things in a domain 3. So that is one of the area. And domain 2, it was so easy after attempting the training, TOPS training. I realized that it was a no misreading the question, or uh, we are not able to understand the question in the first way in terms of context and in terms of how to think and from the ISC square perspective. So these are the 3 aspects. So there was a 2 aspect, okay, when you fail the exam, and this is not my first failure. Couple of other exams also I failed, like I can say that AWS Network Specialty I failed in 2018 early. I failed Google Big Data certification, engineering certification. So there are only 2 aspects, okay, whether you want to continue or whether you would like to give up. These are the 2 aspects, okay. So I can friendly say that I give up on AWS Network Specialty and Google Big Data Engineering. That was 2 reasons. I was not from the domain, just I tried to attempted that those certifications, and those certifications was very specific to vendor specific. Okay. So I don't want to again put my same effort and see after 18 years I can say that I'm going to convert my or transform my career to the big data because it will take lot of effort. Okay. But somehow I felt that enterprise security I could not able to make only 3 domains. So remaining 5 domains I was good. Okay. So I think there was only 2 options. Either I can reattempt, either I can reattempt with just reading, or either I can go with the, again systematic training. Okay. So that was the second option I adopted and I connected prop immediately. And surprisingly, in August, I got the classroom batch, and I always prefer classroom batch only because whenever I used to invest any new technology, I always prefer that you should go for the good. I'm not saying classroom training, but it should be the VILT or classroom because in the domain itself is a new journey for you. Okay. So for example, today I'm exploring Google, all other stuff. Udemy is fine. Linux Academy is fine. Coursera is fine. But CSSP is not that way. CSSP is totally new journey. Now I'm coming to the point why CISSP is a challenging for everyone. Okay. CSSP in 2011, I cleared my PMP. So, sorry, 2012. No, I know PMP was very easy for me. There are a couple of reasons, okay? CSSP is divided into three different domains. One is governance, security governance, risk compliance. Second is you should be very good in the cryptography, networking. Although they are asking the questions from the managerial point of view, but you should know thoroughly what is the cryptography, and it is not a cakewalk to understand end-to-end. Authentication system, Kerberos, these all are there, right? And third is a SDLC, software delivery lifecycle, software development lifecycle. Somehow I was good in domain 7, domain 8, domain 5, 6 because I'm very good in DevOps. I started my journey of the DevOps understanding since last 2016. So I'm very comfortable nowadays also CI/CD pipeline, security, and all other stuff. That was fine, strong point. Now I was not strong in the networking as well as in the cryptography was new. So it is definitely important one should understand the fundamental, okay? Because if you are strong fundamental, you will be able to answer any kind of tricky questions. Apart from you should have some sort of able to read the question properly. That is the first point. So that's why I joined again the classroom training in the August. It was during the 15th August and 12th. So Monday to Friday and I reattempted and Prab has guided me that already you completed your entire study, everything. So now you have to focus on there is a 11th hour guide. 11th hour is again two versions, okay? One is a 500 pages version and second is a 200 pages version. So he asked me to go through that 250 pages version before the exam and no, that helped me to understand the naturally when ISC square questions will come, how I should think, whether from the technical aspect. So context is very much important, I would like to say.
So 11th
Also,
hour you find useful while preparing for this exam, like last minute something.
yes, 11th hour specifically useful because when I was reading the 11th hour, it was a stress release. That book itself is a like discussion mode, okay? Because 11th hour one version I already bought before in my first attempt and it looks also good. But this 11th hour very compiled version was very looks good and it will not force you to remember so many things. See, CSS is a major mistake what I did in the first attempt. I tried to memorize so many things because I know I have to remember this many things like in domain 1, compliance, all other stuff, domain 3, keys and all other stuff. But as I can say that those questions are coming, but those are not only the uh, key importance. Key importance is how you are trying to understand scenario-based questions, right? How you are able to answer two specific scenarios. So that is the one part. Second thing, I would like to give the very high level. See, everyone, people are, when I'm clearing any exam, people will ping me. I had a lot of people in LinkedIn that these are the set of books you have to prepare. So one thing is very much important from the day when you start preparing your own notes. See, there are ample notes are available in the world, okay? But no, your customized notes will help you. Okay, for example, I'm giving my example. When I failed, when I attended profs training, I always keep checking the delta. What is missing in my notes and what prof is teaching additional, which is not in my notes. Okay, I found.
So it means like, like any person who attending any training, it's not about the prep or it's like
Yes,
an instructor training, the gap analysis need to be there. If you already read the book and you're attending the training, the gaps that whatever you identified from the trainer or from your self-study, you can just amend that in your notes.
correct. So that way, what it will helpful, you have to do the delta study. Okay, that is the plus one point. And you know your language very well. For example, in my notes, I know there are so many repetitive points because CSSP is again, there is not a single source of truth. I have seen people who have attempted, who cleared the exam first or second, they at least went through three books. One is a Sean Harris, one is a Cybex, and third is a CBK. So always remember that these all three books are complement each other. I can't say one will replace each other, okay? All are complement because they have the different way to articulate some message. For example, Sean Harris today, I also love to understand domain 3. The way he explained cryptography, so for example, after 2 years, I forgot some concept. I always go to Sean Harris because Sean Harris has given example, and along with the example, he explained me. So that way it is a long-term investment for that to have that kind of books. That is the one part. And when you prepare the notes, I know it will take time, okay, because what is my practice is I used to go through, I will highlight, then I will add my notes. And so that way my notes will keep appending domain wise. So that is the first part. Okay, that is my first preparation strategy. Second preparation strategy, I would like to say that every completion of the domain, I will focus the domain specific questions just to understand whether these already word I know or I don't know. For example, see, after domain specific questions, you can't expect scenario based questions, tricky questions, right? That is number one. Domain specific questions will help you to understand whether you understood all the aspects of the domain one. That is the one part. Now, coming to the final set of questions when we are preparing, because see, as I mentioned, total 5,500. Then after props training, for second attempt, I prepared 7,500 questions. Now, what is my approach?
So what was the primary source of book that you have used for CISSP? Like, do you wish to
Okay.
share with
Yeah,
our
definitely,
audience?
definitely. As I mentioned, Cybex is the first because everyone is preparing because of the easy interpretation of the language. Sean Harris book, okay, that is a really, as I mentioned, articulation is very fine. And 11th hour. So 11th hour, two edition, as I mentioned, one is a bit 500 or 600 pages and one is a compiled
Mhm.
version 250 or 225 pages. Okay, these are the three key books.
Okay.
And CBK is again, it is a better to go at least one because CBK language is very much important, which is aligned to ISC2. So that's why we need to ensure that we have to cover all the aspects. One is the learning. We should not miss any single topic because the same thing I did for CCSP also. I can understand that it will take some time. Okay. So the first point I would like to highlight that CSSP, CCSP is not a certification. It is a journey. Okay. You should consider as a, no, sorry, you should consider as either diploma, either degree. You should not consider that today I will start whether 1 month I will be able to complete. No. So everyone has to prepare their own plan and they have to start accordingly. Now coming to the questions part, okay, what I have observed when I used to prepare for any domain specific question, I used to first attempt, I used to get 50 to 60% without any challenges, okay, straightforward. Now there are the two parts. One area I don't know anything. That is a totally, I have to highlight those questions and I have to keep for second revision, third revision, fourth revision, whatever you have time. Second part, although I am correct at that moment, okay, for example, today I'm practicing 100 questions. 100
Mhm.
questions, 50, I know sure and short, this is the answer and I'm also getting right. Okay, that is a very clear. Second 25 questions, for example, I'm not sure because I don't know the backend logic. I don't know what is the reason, whether it is a sure. So sometimes what happens by, who can cook by luck, you will get the right answer, but that will not help. So what you have to do, you have to mark those questions as well for the second and third time revision. So definitely always remember that way you have reduced your 5,000 questions to 2,500 questions for the next time. So that way, so when I'm saying 5,000 or 7,000, those are unique questions. Those are not duplicate. Okay. So
Okay.
in a
So what is the
5,000
sources of
questions,
questions that you would like to recommend to our
yeah,
participants?
1 minute. Agree. So one is a Sean Harris practice test, Cybex
All in one.
practice test. Oh yeah, all in one. And a couple of things are, this one is also good. I forgot the name actually. Some online exam is
Boson?
there.
Boson?
Boston is also good. CPK, whatever questions are coming in backend, it will also force to think in that specific. The words are very tricky. English words are a bit tricky. So these all questions, they will always complement in terms of direct question, in terms of indirect questions, in terms of tricky questions. So that way you will know you will get also, see in exam also, you will not get all the tricky questions, definitely. Okay, in 150 questions, 25 questions are very straightforward. Anyone can answer if you know the
Rajan, I cannot
topic.
hear you.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, not clear, not clear.
Okay.
Yeah, now
So
it's better, yeah.
yeah, in an exam also, it will be a mixed kind of questions, okay? Whether you will be able to directly get 25. So this way you have to ensure that till the exam, and you have to practice those questions as well as in you have to clear your concepts, because I can understand the books will help you to give the direct statement, okay? But scenario based, for example, I will give you simple example. I'm giving very basic example, okay? There is a controls, okay? Detective controls versus deterrent control. Okay, so dog is a detective or deterrent. So the dog is either detective, either deterrent, because the context might change. Okay, if you are sitting
Okay.
inside of your flat, it is a detective. If someone is outside trying to hack something, it is a deterrent. So this I'm giving simple example. So remember, concepts are very much important and context is very much important. For example, I am the DR BCP question is coming and I am DR BCP manager. I am the system team. Accordingly,
Trial version.
Hello, anyone is asking?
Trial.
No.
Okay, fine.
Go ahead, Rajan. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is how you should important couple of things. Context of question is very much important. Second thing, you should think the way ISC square. So this all will come on day and day out the practicing the question. Okay. So some example I can give some DR VCP. When you do the migration, when we move the critical component from primary to DR. Okay. But the question is, when you move from DR to primary, the less critical component should come. So this is also one of the answer I understood from those practicing those questions. And someone has mentioned when you are wrong, try to understand why you are wrong. If they are giving the proper justification, so many areas they are giving the proper justification why in this context this answer is correct, not other answers are correct. Okay. And second thing, how I can understand that I am good, no, I am confident enough to, or you can say in terms of preparation. Okay. So thumb rule is if you are able to narrow down the two answers from those for any questions, you feel that you are really good in the domain. Okay. Means you means now the at least 70%, 60% you should be able to answer at the first time. Remaining 40%, I can say that if you are able to derive which one is correct, then it will help you.
Okay. So so after clearing the CISSP, any changes you have seen in your infosec vertical, and what was your preparation for CCSP? Like, that is something major people want to know. So what was your approach after clearing CISSP? It was like a rest period, or it motivates you to go for CCSP? Because we have
Yeah.
around 130 people in India who clear CCSP.
Correct. So say just I would like to highlight you that after CSSP cleared, one key achievement I forgot to highlight. I was able to clear CSSP because of my good fundamentals in 102 questions. Okay, that was a
Great.
very much great achievement for me. And that in India we used to say na paisa vasool wala funda hai. Okay,
Yeah.
you got whatever I invested twice. So if I cleared second attempt also 150 questions, sometimes I feel that still I'm not that much great. But people who are clearing 100 and 102 questions, definitely it is a great achievement that you are able to align with the IS. So this is a really good indication. Okay, so that is one of the key achievement. Now my second area which I would like to address everyone is certification is just starting your journey. Okay. Now after CSSP, my definitely the focus was CCSP, which I started in February of 2020, and
Okay.
okay. But in between, what I have started, some key aspects which I would like to share is in my group also I used to share all the artifacts. First of all, you have to join all the relevant groups in security domain in the LinkedIn. That is one part. Start attending some of the good conference. Like I started first my after clearing CSSP, I attended my ISMG group. Okay, that is a Mumbai or Bangalore, Delhi, there are conducting cybersecurity summits. Why? Because it is a very much important. Now you have the clear understanding. Now you should understand what is going in the market. That is a very much important for everyone. For it is a public cloud. I'm not talking to security domain. One should be aligned with what is going in the market. For example, today I can tell too many things in security world because day in day out I'm observing some of the people used to keep good post token security. We used to follow immediately. That is one
Okay.
part. Normally people used to hashtag, okay. If an example, I'm putting something on security, I will put hash cyber security. So if you part of that group, definitely you will get that notification as a part of your LinkedIn update. Okay. So first thing I have joined relevant groups. That way I came to know so many different things because as I mentioned, no, cybersecurity is not a narrowed area. It is the GRC part, one is a VAPT part, one is a API, container, microservices where I'm more interested, public cloud, that part. So these are the multiple domains and I'm quite interested into one domain, but these domains are very tightly coupled with each other. So I can't say that I'm not interested GRC. I don't want to go to any topic. Okay. So that way you have to be ensure that you should keep sync with this what is going in the market through the LinkedIn network. Second thing I would like to highlight that is now coming to the CCSP. So as CCSP, I was comfortable with, as I mentioned, public cloud. I cleared my AWS security, but the CCSP exam is totally different than vendor specific. Now how? CCSP is again 6 domains. I can say that after CISSP, it is not like that much difficult. That is a one part because they are not going to the core aspects of networking, cryptography. They are just touching those parts. And because I was clear the fundamentals, I could be able to answer. That is one part.
So
CCSP
what
one
the point you would like to add here is like once the person clears CSSP, it make their life bit easier when they're
correct,
preparing for CCSP because those
correct,
fundamental like BCP, risk management, and cryptography is clears. Hmm?
correct. So two aspects because couple of the domains are inherited from the CSSP. That is number one. Second thing, you know the ISC square the way of they are asking the question. Okay,
Because you
because
already
when I
attempted the
appeared
CSSP, yeah.
correct. So when I attempted CCSP, surprisingly, because CCSP you can go back, you can mark the questions. I found only 10 questions which I was not sure, okay, in 125 questions. So that way I was very happy. Although they are not declaring the score, otherwise we can say, no, we are more confident, okay, these questions was wrong or right. That is a different story. But for me, CCSP was a cakewalk, I can say that. Because of,
Oh,
I can say the 2 trials of CSSP, clearing my
make it stronger.
fundamentals of CSSP, and I am very close to the public cloud area. Okay, so I
Okay.
did my CCSP. Again, CCSP is one of the interesting aspect. Okay, the difference between I did my AWS security without CSSP background, and I did my Azure security during the COVID situation because the Prometric was closed. Sorry, PSNV was closed. So I keep extended my exam from April to November after a couple of no rescheduling. So I thought let me start with the Azure security because Azure it was not my core area. Although I know Azure theoretically, infrastructure aspect, I cleared my 533, 534 all that day. But I started preparing that Azure security, and that was then I have seen the lot of difference between while I was preparing for AWS security in 2018 and 2020, I'm preparing Azure security because when Azure security is telling defense in depth, I know what is a defense in depth. Okay. When Azure security is talking about zero trust, I know. Okay, we have to authenticate, authorize every time before giving the permission. That is nothing but the zero trust. So
So you
that
mean to say
way,
that like, so what can be the foundational for CCSP? Like example, like the person is not did CISSP. I believe this will be the common question for everyone. Those who have not attempted the CISSP and if the person wish to go for a CCSP, what is your advice for them?
okay, so in that case, what I will prefer, CCSP's foundation, either CCSK is one option, okay, if you are very initial stage, that is a one part. Else, you can do at least one public cloud security. You should have one good understanding of the public cloud because nowadays I am very much confident into AWS. I know I cleared 7 certification in AWS, okay, that day. Big data also, and
Before CCSP, after CCSP, Rajan?
no, this is before CCSP. Oh, because
Okay.
my all the certification got expired also. So this is my
Hmm.
very 2017, okay, old
Okay.
story.
Hmm.
So one cloud understanding is a very much important because traditional data center and the cloud, they are working totally different approach. Controls everything on on-prem and the public cloud again different. Complexity of the public cloud which I have seen in 2014 when I started my career in AWS, and now the complexity of the public cloud, multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, it is a totally different from the security aspect. It is not a straightforward. Whatever you put the control, no one can guarantee it will not be hacked, okay? Because of the complexity of the applications, API, container. Now it is a totally application driven is coming. So there are a lot of issues. So I will prefer one person should understand one public cloud thoroughly. And in terms of operation part, I'm not talking about certification part, but you should know which component is relevant for what, and at least you should go training or certification for at least one public cloud. Okay, that will support you at least at some sort of level, because CCSP is again not talking about any vendor. Okay, CCSP is again not talking about any cloud consumer. Try to remember, in a public cloud world, there are the three different categories of the aspects: service provider, a cloud broker, and the cloud consumer. CCSP is focusing more on cloud provider as well as the consumer perspective. That should be very much important. You should understand. And in a no organization, until unless you are running your own private cloud, you will not get that exposure that as a service provider. Like for example, I can give you the data center standardization, okay, cabling standardization, cooling standardization, you have to deploy your data center into the border of the two different countries because of some sort of high availability, GDPR. So this kind of concept is not relevant for us, okay. We are saying that I am consuming the public cloud, but what level? I am just using the resources. That knowledge will not work that much. For that, you should know controls. You should know the controls from the customer perspective. You should know the controls from the service provider perspective. You should know the controls from the cloud broker perspective, because as a broker, I am responsible to understand the customer's requirement and align with the specific public cloud provider. So that way, CCSP is given the totally different dimensions and the directions to understand the public cloud world.
So what are the resources you have used for CCSP exam preparation?
Yeah, definitely. So luckily CCSP, as I mentioned to Prob long time back also, CCSP is like CISSP, they don't have so many sources of truth. Okay, only they have Cybex. Sean Harris, I think they have one book. Okay, so currently hardly
That's
two
all
to
in
three
one, like
books are
all in one
all
of
in one. Correct.
CCSP,
Sorry.
not Shoners. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So enough, and yeah. So I don't found that there is a vast difference between all other syllabus like CSSP, okay? Because hardly 6 domains are there. Again, domain 1 is a replication of your CSSP, so I don't have much challenge in the domain 1. Again, domain 2 is a data, then application and SDLC. So these are new that I was aware. But yeah, CCSP, through CCSP, I got the angle from the service provider. And that was one of the key insight for me. And in fact, I never thought that as a provider, you should take care of these many things, because
Example?
uh,
Any
for
example?
example, a data center standardization, okay? For example, I can give best example. When developer is developing some code for on-prem versus public cloud, what is the difference? They have very nicely explained. In a public cloud, your code is running in the multi-tenant environment. Okay. So when you write the code, the same sort of skill set in terms of security controls will not help, which will work in the on-prem. Now you might heard one good example of the confidential computing. Okay, it is a emerging in Azure, and no, it is a runtime security like data at rest, data at transit. Same way, it is a runtime. So confidential computing also becoming emerging. I can say that. So here I can say that what type of when, because OWASP 10 security recommendations is there, it is there in CSSP also, but here they are giving OWASP from the multi-tenancy aspect. That is a one part, so which we never thought when we were running application into data center. Second part is DLP. DLP is a very challenging into public cloud because your data, you don't know where your data is. That is important. Okay. So when you want to go for auditing and all other stuff, so those are challenges as very high on the public cloud, which is not there on-prem. So this you will only come to know when you go for CCSP kind of stuff. And yeah, I still remember NIST ISO. They have the two different standards which CCSP is following. But I'm really impressed with the ISO reference framework actually in terms of
which is what? Which one is the framework? Which one is the framework you're talking?
That a data center public cloud framework.
Okay.
It is I think in chapter 1. I think it was amazing. Okay, at least
You're
you
talking
come
about roles
to
and
know the
responsibilities. Roles and
correct,
responsibilities.
correct. Yes, and the building blocks of the public cloud. Okay, so typical data center and the reference block is totally different from the public cloud, any public cloud, okay, AWS, Azure or Google, because they have to comply the standards, auditing and all of that stuff. So yeah, so this is one of the key asks. And as I mentioned, CCSP, because due to the COVID situation, I prepared from February to May, and after May, because I could not see the nearby date because of a lot of uncertainty, so I booked it to direct November. And in between, I did my Azure security, I did my Aviatrix. Aviatrix is again one of the good product for multi-cloud, and Terraform. This is just for information, okay? So no, we should keep ourselves engaged, okay? And I again started my CCSP preparation in September, okay? 2 months total, I cleared in November 3rd. So now again here the significance of notes is coming, okay? Because I prepared my notes during the CRIS training along referring multiple. So for me it was a very easy to start the notes directly, okay? Because I prepared the notes, I know what is the reference, okay? So that's why again, first time because of I failed and my notes helped. Second time because of the delay, natural delay, that notes helped me. So that's why no, preparing the notes, and again the structure is same as I mentioned. Go through the questions first. This time I got 60 to 70 because as I mentioned, I have the good background of the public cloud. And those questions which are tricky, which I need to understand every time the context will change, I keep revision of those questions, second time, third time possible, until unless I'm very through that kind of questions. Okay, this kind of scenario will come, then what all dimensions I need to think. So that way
So
it will help.
what was the source of questions practice you did? Like, when is
Okay,
Cybex is
so
there?
one Cybex is there, and I exactly at top of the mind I don't remember, but I can share that. Okay, so it is a typically Cybex, and there is a Cybex practice test is also there. I think right, 125,
Okay.
125, two sets are there. That is enough. And in fact, I also got hardly 2,000 unique questions for CCSP. Okay, this is a plus point. So that way, because domains are very less, and there are no multiple source of truth. In CISSP, there are limitless source of truth, okay? So it is a very much important, you have to identify the real source of truth and you have to focus on that. So you should not
Okay.
distract yourself by referring too many things and confuse yourself. You should identify 3 standard source of truth, prepare your notes, start preparing the questions, identify difficult, identify the complex questions, keep revising them, and identify in terms of your nodes. For example, I'm giving the simple example of CSSP, like data center. Moving from primary to DR, you have to move critical application first. When you move DR to primary, you will move less critical for validation. So those kind of concepts you have to indirectly add in your notes. So that will help you.
Thanks, Rajan. Teams, if you have any questions, you can just post in a chat.
Yeah, I got one question for how many months or days you prepared before giving the exam and how many hours did you invest? Okay, so again, this is a questions normally uh, everyone is asking. So I would like to highlight one point, okay? Everyone is coming from the different background, different skill set, different grasping power, different understanding. So the best part is, because everyone is working from the different organizations, so I can say that once your day will start 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, we don't have control on remaining days, okay, in terms of meetings, in terms of deliverables. So focus for morning 5 to 7 is enough for a 3 to 6 months, or depend upon your grasping. If you are able to complete everything into 6 months, that is fine. There are people, they are targeting only one source. I have seen them, and they are also good because they are in the same domain. That is also best. So I will say that morning hours are good, and try to utilize weekend as much as possible, because two aspects. Some of the weekdays I could not wake up early because I am traveling. Okay, it is not possible. I can read everywhere. So you can cover those backlog in the weekend. So try to prepare your schedule accordingly. Keep Saturday, Sunday to complete the backlogs and to revise your weekdays. And notes will help you to refresh. See, for example, I'm going to domain 2. Keep refreshing domain 1 from the notes. Okay, it will not take much time. It will take hardly 15-20 minutes. Okay, because the notes, to read the notes and to read the books is a vast difference. That is the one part. So this will, for CSSP I mentioned, in the first inning I took 6 to 7 months, and second inning I took at least 2 months. Okay, because the preparation was there, and I found some of the good blog articles. I forgot it actually. uh, there is a good article for CSSP who failed in multiple domains. Okay, then how they prepare. If you fail in 2 or 3 domains, what should be your approach? They have also mentioned somewhere. You can, you can get it. So so many people prepared very hard in a public world, I can say that. And this is, everyone is given return to the society. Okay, whenever I'm clearing the exam, someone will ask, definitely I will take 1 or 2 days, but I will definitely help them. If someone is ready, I used to call them and I can explain. Okay, because everyone will is coming from the different background. Guidance is very much important, as I can say. No, because if you don't have in your circle, you don't have right a person who has cleared CSSP or CCSP, definitely this society, this LinkedIn will help you to give the right direction. Yeah. Uh, okay. Second question, I can say that I'm preparing for CSSP but not getting confidence. What you suggest? Okay, it is a very subjective. So I would like to highlight there, identify which domain you are not getting much score. See, if you are, don't go all the 6 domains. First, identify the weak area on specific domains. If you are failing, I'm not strong in some of the specific domain, then do one thing, uh, clear all those fundamentals. Because when I started my public cloud journey in 2013, I know my trainer used to explain how DNS works before Route 53. Because those were the people I saw. People are coming from a different background to learn public cloud, right? But if you don't know DNS, then to explain, to understand Route 53 itself is a nightmare. Okay. Similarly, over here also, if you feel I'm not having the basic understanding for that domain, first example, I can give you the SDLC domain. Okay. If you don't know SDLC, try to understand from the Wikipedia what is SDLC, what is a DevOps, what is a DevSecOps, how the pipeline will work. You will get very minimum information. I'm not saying that go for any entire training. Try to understand that much information which you find difficult, and again refresh the domain. Okay, then you see your difference. Are you failing because of you are not able to understand that question, because you find difficulty because you don't able to understand the concept itself, right? Then accordingly you can, plan or prepare yourself. Okay. And Sri Vidya mentioned, can we consider AWS cloud security specialty prior to CCSP? By trying to learn more about the domain, please suggest. Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned, uh, at least try to understand one public cloud from the architectural perspective, from services perspective, and try to figure out that security part. At least you should know AWS is using which services as a which control. Okay, whether it is IAM, okay, whether it is monitoring, whether it is governance, charging, everything. So at least you should have some sort of understanding. Then you easily can understand the CCS, because as I mentioned, no, AWS cloud, it can't help that much, because CCSP is from the governance perspective and cloud provider perspective. No public cloud security certifications, because I am doing currently Google preparing. I have seen couple of the topics in a Google Next. Okay, they are also sharing something which the way Google is managing in a backend infrastructure. So that definitely will help you sometimes, okay? Because CCSP is, you have to think from that perspective. How Google Cloud is managing security, each and every control. I think you should go for the from the Google Next. That kind of presentation also is there. Definitely that will you can easily align with the CCSP. Again,
Very good
public cloud
question.
select. Yeah.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Rajan. I was just checking the question Chaitanya has
Yeah.
raised regarding I'm preparing for CISSP exam during a early next year. My question is there's only difference of 5% to 10%, Chaitanya. Okay. If you can visit the blog also of my CISSP InfoSec in 2018 versus 2021, you will get an insight about the percentage of change we had. So hardly it is 5 to 7%. Chaitanya, I'm able to answer your question.
Hello. Yeah, I got the answer. Just wanted to know in the certificate whether they mention the year or it is
No, they
just
don't mention the
certification.
version. They don't mention the version. They just mention about the date, like from the day you have they issue the certificate. It's not like that, version. It's not a product certification. So they just mention about the year you certified. That's it. Or year and
Okay.
month.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Any other questions, team? You can just type in chat box. Anything CCSP and CISSP questions you have, team? No questions? Great. So Mr. Rajan, can I have your closing speech on anything you would like to suggest? Okay, why there is a less traction for CCSP when compared with CISSP? So Rajan,
Yeah.
this is a question.
Okay. When there is a list section, CCSP is when compared with CSP. Yeah.
Yeah, we
See,
have
I
130 students CCSP in India certified right now, I believe. 130 is there. Yeah.
Yeah, currently, see what I can see in the public cloud world, because I'm closely following from 2016. People are more focused on the vendor specific, okay? Because everyone is working specific to one vendor, because I work for AWS. But as an individual, I always feel that you should focus on the vendor neutral aspect. That's why I don't see that much attention or attraction is there for CCSP. Second part, people are thinking that no, in fact, public cloud specific security attraction is also very less. Okay, if you see the certifications of Azure security, people are going they always think security is someone else's job, but it is not like that. It is everyone's job nowadays. Either you are the developer, either you are the infrastructure. When I'm building the solution, security aspect every time you have to consider. Okay, so that's why I always believe that CCSP, and my take is you have to balance vendor neutral compliance and governance and management plus control plus real life. Okay, because when I'm going to prepare solution, I can't say CCSP and NIST follow. I have to say that if customer is in Azure, I have to say that whether he has to use Security Center or Sentinel or Azure Monitor, which is the right solution for them. So that might be one of the reason people are more focused on to the specific area and to that, and they are also getting experience in one area, so they feel that I have to first complete my this Azure part, then I will focus on other. Okay, that might be the reason. But as in my case, I covered all the three part: AWS 7 certificate, Azure 2, Google 1. I know these are the three key partners. In fact, Oracle IBMs are also coming, but these are the three key providers. So definitely it will be complement. So that might be one of the reasons people are not going for the CCSP.
Very great. So Azad has a
So
question that, okay, have you done any Sakai exam?
yeah, no. Isaka, in fact, for new for me, I just attended one workshop after I cleared my CSSP, and that session was a cloud audit. But no, I never done any. I don't have any background. That's why that GRC part, as I mentioned, no GRC part, people are typically coming from the domain, but I'm not from the domain. So that might be one of the reasons. That was a uniqueness with me.
Mayank has raised the question as how much does question practice make a difference for CISSP exam perspective? I have booked the exam for December, but not getting confidence.
No, so consider, that's why I'm saying, no, if I can fail my exam after 5,500 questions, okay, with this approach, just you can understand There will be no correlation. Just try to understand why I am not able to answer that question. That is important. And don't focus too many things memorizing. Okay, because that was also my first take from first failure, because I tried to memorize too many things and I found that they are not asking that many questions on sequencing and all other stuff. I think they are very less and logical. So focus on the concept. Okay, there will be no real-time experience. Once you will go enter the room, then the first question itself your start, that is your real exam. Okay, so when I appeared in second time, after 10 question, 20 question, I was so confident that I could be able to clear if the same pattern will continue and I will be able to apply, because the question itself will give to the confidence. Okay, you identify the right answer because of my past experience or whatever, but that will help you at least. So fundamental knowledge understanding is very much critical in this case, and they are not like typical public cloud security. They are not asking any service specific, whether S3 has a 5 GB limit or 5 terabyte limit. Okay, those questions they are not expecting. They are expecting from the governance perspective, as a security enterprise architect perspective. So you have to make your minds accordingly.
Great. Did you get any chronology based questions? I mean, any chronology? So what chronology you want to know, Kaushik? Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Rajan, if you want to answer this.
See,
Chronology one.
chronology, again, I mentioned, right? For example, I use simple example, OSI layers, okay? OSI layers, you have to remember in your own chronology, because that is a base, okay? So OSI 7 chronology is there, SDLC life cycle is there, that you have to remember some logical way, some tricky way, that then this, some of the phase, Kerberos phase, right? So those you have to definitely remember, because that is a concept. That is not they are asking something to remember some standard, okay? So that way, and you keep reading those notes. So that's why notes is very much important. What you can do, I prepared, one is a quick reference guide, which was a 149 pages, which I completely keep refreshing. And during the exam last day, which is a very much important, 2 or 3 days back, I prepared 5 pages summary.
For
In a 5
CCSP, for
pages
CISSP?
CSSP. In a
So the
5
one
pages
that you
summary.
shared with me, right? That
Correct,
law.
correct. Yeah. So if you see the sequence, the logical grouping is there, all the things. So before entering the exam, at least go through the ones. So immediately, it is a more kind of refreshing your memory, nothing else. In CCSPs also I prepared, but I don't found that much relevant, because they have not asked any such kind of chronology, sequence, drag and drop kind of stuff, which we have to remember. Not that way. Those are very logical to understand.
NDA.
Correct.
Team, any questions? What was the real difference between the preparation of first attempt and second attempt? It's a very good question, actually.
Yeah, correct. See, first attempt, as I knew, I'm the new in the domain. And although I mentioned, no, I collected all the relevance, I referred all the books. So the first time difference, I can say that I have not focused that much clearing my doubts to understand my core aspects of networking and cryptography. That was my major difference. And the data lifecycle, which is a second domain, which I can say it was a very straightforward domain. But again, no, there is a due diligence, due care. Those kind of words are very tricky, and you have to be very thorough of what they would like to say and what is the real interpretation from the ISC square perspective. Don't bring your experience for this. Like PMP also saying that you have to wear the PMI hat. Okay. Similarly, here also, I can say that cryptography fundamentally I was not that much strong. That might be one of the area. And second thing, networking, as I mentioned, that I'm not from the domain. So networking also the difference. So the second way, which I clearly highlighted that I able to clear in 102 questions, the main focus was fundamentally I was very sure. Okay, because of this is happening. So that helped me. And second thing is a reading ISC square question from their perspective is a very much important. As I mentioned, PMP also, everyone is saying that those tricky questions, context is very much important. Here is also context is very much important. So thought process to answer those questions from the CISSP ISC square perspective is very much important. So that is a difference. One is a fundamental and one is a understanding the question in the right context and answer it. Yeah, that is Azad has mentioned, identified good, asked a good question. See, for me, I will highlight, this is my, I have total 53 certifications, okay? Now I can't switch my job to get that experience. So CSSP, as I mentioned, I am not in the domain. I am taking CSSP as an add-on advantage to understand the security aspect while designing the solution. Now where it is helping, now DevSecOps is my area. Public cloud security control, multi-cloud securities control is my area. Okay, but definitely I have to think solution from that perspective. Hybrid cloud solution security is very much important. So there, definitely my CSSP knowledge is very much helping me day in, day out, because I am very thorough with all these aspects which I mentioned. So that way it is helping me in career, and it is not helping now, but I can see in future, because my future roadmap is AI for cybersecurity, which I have started preparing. And AI has a lot of use cases to mitigate near real-time cybersecurity issues. Okay, so definitely I need to understand first cybersecurity, then only I can think the AI use cases. So this way I can say that CISSP will help you till any technology will come, because it is a core. That's why people are more attracted towards CISSP.
Great. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for
Hey,
your
thanks
time,
a lot.
sir. And we are looking forward for another series with
Yeah,
Mr.
definitely.
Rajan sir after clearing some certifications. And
Definitely.
those
See,
who have
as I
joined, hope
mentioned,
it
no,
was a great experience. Yeah.
in a
Yes, sir.
final, don't consider any certification is a just clearing your certification and get. No, every organization has a target. I can understand, because I am also working for some organization. For target, go for ITL Foundation kind of certification. But for learning, and consider certification is your journey. Okay, it is not. It is evolving. Still, I bought all my Kindle book, and still I am referring the concept whenever I need, because that is my real asset. Okay, because I can't remember for next 3 to 4 years. Okay, so it is my true experience, and I'm keep expanding my training path journey, and wherever my security is my now core aspect of when I'm looking infrastructure or AI. So that way, consider this is your it is not a 1 or 2 month preparation. Consider 1 year also. It is a worth to invest in CSSP or CCSP based on your grasping and background. For 1 year investment of time is no is the worth you will feel after completion of that domain.
Any last thing you want to say, Rajan, to everyone?
Yeah, just keep learning, keep exploring. As I mentioned, cybersecurity is a really vast world. In fact, I am also exploring IoT. I mentioned Prob also. I am also exploring container security in all those parts. So keep learning and keep enjoying and keep be part of the good groups in LinkedIn. That is a very much important. I always ask everyone. You are in any domain, plus join the LinkedIn relevant groups. You will get all the notification what is happening in the market. So that way you can decide the next step for you, okay, which is relevant for me, rather than asking to someone. So and finally, thanks to Prab and InfoSec train, because I completed my 3 different trainings on the InfoSec train. So when Prab has asked me for this opportunity, I'm really thankful, because to share experience, it is a giving society back. Okay, because I also learn from so many people. Everyone is writing the blog. I'm not that much good in a blogger as a blogger. So definitely this kind of session, definitely probably you can invite when your next page will come. Definitely I am willing to share my experience, because these all are relevant experience. And when you learn from your failure, that itself is a great experience, right?
That's a very good thing you said. Like, we should learn from the failure. And even
Correct.
I also faced several failures in my life when I was could not able to make my college, could not able to make my best things in the jobs. So these failures has given me a lessons, because we say better than success. Failures is always a great lesson for us. and that is something which
Correct.
basically taught us how to move ahead. And so thank you so much, sir, for your time, and thank you
Definitely.
for
Thank
everyone,
you.
team. We'll keep this series live the next week. We are planning with either we have a 2-3 surprises, and especially the CSSP one more webinar we are doing next week, where I'm inviting 2 more volunteers who are going to discuss about what will be your thought process during an exam. Okay, what kind of hat you need to wear while writing the CISSP exam, which is basically one of the important question which most of the gladiators or most of
Correct.
my clients basically, or my social media friends basically used to ask. But again, thank you so much, sir. Thank you
Yeah.
everyone for your
So
time,
Anish has
and we
asked
look.
one just last question. Please suggest
Yeah,
some good groups. Go to hash and check security. You whatever groups are coming, you join those groups. So you will keep updating. Hash CSSP in a LinkedIn. You can check those groups.
that's great.
If
Thank
possible,
you,
I
sir.
will share my list of groups to Prab, so Prab can share with you. That is also fine. Okay.
That's great. Rajan sir, could you please tell your full name on a LinkedIn so they can connect you, and if they want have any questions, they can basically reach out to you
Yeah, my
directly.
name is Rajan Iyer. So how I'm not sure Rajan Iyer full name. So they
Mhm.
definitely they can connect.
That's great.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Okay.
so much,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
team.
Prab.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much.